Arctic Adjuster, can we please talk about the run game improvement rather than what the coach is doing next year? Who should start at quarterback? It's time for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Man, I'm with you on the run game improvement. And a big part of that has been because of, the quarterback situation. Just the simple ability now to have a legitimate threat of pass, right? Play action or stretching the field. It's changed the narrative when you see Najee Harris in the dot situation, right, directly behind the quarterback with two tight ends up there. 6 weeks ago, y'all were hollering about how that is so predictable, how it is such a high run probability, and how when it's so predictable, you can't be successful because it's just so predictable. Deke, you looked it up recently. Is it any less predictable when Najee's on the field that it's going to be a run play?
I'm just going based off my eye test.
Eye contact.
Seeing the snaps.
Eye
Like
contact.
he's getting X amount of carries, and whenever I see him out there. I would say the same. Let me put it to you this way. I didn't deep dive in the research.
Yeah.
But I remember in the past, I consistently said, it feels like anytime Najee's out there, we're running the ball. Like it's 85% chance. It feels the same way now.
Yeah. I will say it is. The big difference, though, is now in terms of defenses, you have to respect our play action pass element so much more. And when you don't, you see the slants that George Pickens, you see the in route that Deontay Johnson has been able to take to the house. You look at the coverages that those defenses were playing, and you look at the matchups. Those matchups are there because, they don't want to respect the throw. So when you don't respect the throw and you keep 8 men in the box by the line of scrimmage, you're creating natural one-on-ones, and you're guaranteed to get cover 1 or cover 3. Because by the time they try to rock back to a cover 4, they're going to have to show themselves, right? So with that, you're getting a lot of information. So when Mason hits these throws, and this is why when we talked about the throws, even though it was more on the receivers making the run after, we highlighted the throw because of the ball placement. And we said when your ball placement is where it needs to be, like it was on those throws, you could see how a routine play can go 60-plus yards for a touchdown. That type of stuff has made defenses play us very differently with the run game now. Seattle was in a bind behind it because the 3 times they tried to play that game, we hit Deontay, we hit Moof, and then we hit GP. And from there, they was like, you know what, man, maybe we need to back up off of that. And that's where the running game kept going. So for me, man, I think this would be the exact same scenario. I look at this and I say, man, when we got that opportunity to see them in a too high look, Najee got to take off with that running game. Jaylen Warren got to take off with that running game, which they've been doing, right? But when they walk that safety down in the box, that is the adjustment. That is them saying, we dare you, Mason, to beat us with your arm. That's when Mason has to deliver the throws that he's delivered these past 3 weeks. That's what Mitch struggled to do consistently. That's what Kenny has struggled to do consistently. So the running game's improvement is a big reason, from Mason in terms of just how they correlate to each other. Now, eventually it's going to get to the point where that running game going to keep cooking. And now these defenses are going to be like, you know what, bro? Hey, man, we're going to have to let you beat us with your arm because clearly this running game is like that. Clearly this running game is real. And when teams have to play you honest, now it's a different ball game. Now that's what you're trying to see. I feel like Buffalo initially is going to play the Steelers honest because if you look at how the Steelers have been running on tape these past couple weeks, it's like, man, you can't sit there and play nickel versus this offense right now. They're a little bit too physical in there right now. That 12 personnel with Allen Robinson, it ain't no passing situation. That's run. So you better have your big boys out there. But the strain is, can your big guys match up with a Pat? Can they match up with an Allen when they run them on a route? If it's GP as the solo receiver and he runs a deep over, can you match up with that? If it's Deontay as a solo receiver, can you match up with that? That's going to be the question. And the funny thing is, they're going to try to attack us the exact same way. They're going to want to hop in that 12 personnel and see if we play big boy groupings as well to stop James Cook and get that one-on-one with Diggs on the outside, one-on-one with Shakir on the outside. If Gabe Davis is available, that's the way that they're trying to hunt it up. So very similar philosophies as well. And that's also why both of these teams have been so hot down the stretch. Running games for both teams, man. Running games, man. It ain't gone yet, baby. That running game is still very much part of success in the league, baby. So I like what you on, Arctic Adjuster. Absolutely. People get enamored with the pass, and rightfully so, but that running game is the great equalizer. You do that, man. If you can run that ball consistently in this league, you will be in every single game you want to be in, man.
Back to his question about why aren't we talking about that versus what the coach is doing next year or who should start at quarterback. It's just not as interesting, flat out, right?
Look, there you go. That's the other part. So fair enough. Let's
just be real.
Let Deke tell you. All right, Deke, I'm gonna give it to you. I told you, I'm gonna give it to you with all the beautiful fluff. We're gonna season it up real nice. You know, it's gonna make it look good presentation. Deke just gonna give it to you raw, uncut. He's just like, look, bro, this is what it is. All right.
Come on, like asking the chatter. We could all attest this too. Any of us. We go online, you see a headline, Steelers running game is good. Coach T may not come back next year. Or who is QB1 for the playoffs, or who should start Mason or Kenny.
One is factual.
What two are you clicking over the other? You're clicking over the other two versus just the run game doing good.
You're right, bro.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good.
One could be factual, one could be speculative, but let it sound about that coach, about that QB, bro. You know. That's where they want to go with it, man. But I do like your energy, Arctic, man. Trust me. You fighting the good fight. I like your fight, baby. That's how I feel sometimes when I do the field sessions. I'm like, all right, do a running game one. Talk of quarterbacks. Everybody want quarterback, bro. You know how that go. You drop a Kenny tape, man, get 30,000 views of that thing. You start talking about these block skis, this ready game, you be like, we a little light today.
Hey,
it's real, bro.
To your point, though, about why the running game is doing good, it is because of the quarterback. I think the Mason effect has been real on this offense. It's opened things up. Got the O-line blocking better. Got the running backs running better. Receivers looking better. It's not a coincidence. That's all I'm saying. I would agree.
Above your head, you do see a beautiful logo. DraftKings Sportsbook. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Beautiful, might I add. Beautiful. Okay. Now, what is DraftKings? Well, they're just the top-rated sportsbooking app in all of North of America. They are safe. Just like Deke, they're secure. And like me and Deke, they're reliable, all right? You need reliability when you're talking about the sports booking world, okay? So, with that being the case, though, we love them because during this time of year, there's plenty of parlays out there and a lot of other ways that you might be looking to, up the ante for Super Wild Card Weekend. Well, ladies and gents, the best way to do that is to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But when you do so, you're going to have to, type in your name. And that's cool when you set all that stuff up. But bump all that. When it's time for that first deposit, when it's time for that first wager, make sure you do one thing. Make sure it's a minimum of $5, but use the promo code MOATS. So that way you can receive up to $200 in free bet money. All right. It's a beautiful thing. We call it draft deposit money. All right. So with that being the case, you see the promo code, you see the link. But I also understand, Deke, that at times people struggle. Now, if I'm talking to you or someone you might know that has a gambling problem, needs crisis counseling, or even referral services. If you live in New York, you see the number to text. But for everybody else, the number to dial is 1-800-GAMBLER. I said 1-800-GAMBLER.